Hello, hello, everybody. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Uh, we're back with another one. It's political season now, boy. So we're gonna no way to avoid politics from now to the election day. But we'll probably have a whole lot of different variations on that theme. But you know, what's going on, 18? What's happening? It's that time of the year, and so the theme of this particular talk, like everybody can see, you can read the title, right? We need to kind of examine the effect that Amber Rose might have had on the Republican Party, right? So, did she move the needle or not? So that's kind of the overriding question. Did her appearance at the RNC move the needle at all? So we're gonna get into that and talk about it. I remember since I've been voting Democrat for most of my voting career. I was one of those automatons, just like most Black people are right now, just voting Democrat because everybody else did. Hey, hello, Catellia. How you doing? I hope I pronounced that right. Take heed. Hello, hello, welcome. We're going to talk a little politics. We're going to talk Amber Rose, the light-skinned queen, the mulatto from the South, or wherever the hell she was, Philly, or whatever. The mixed race queen. That's what she is. She considers herself that. But anyway, the question is, does she move the needle at all? And I think she does. But we're going to get into that. I got some clips I'm going to play. And when anybody wants to go ahead and chime in while I'm doing all this, feel free to, cam up or speak from the cloud. So like I said, I was talking about my experience in voting. Once I started voting when I was 18. I've been voting for a long time. And just like most Black Americans, I did my automaton mindless vote for Democrats, just like so many Blacks did. Didn't know why I was doing it. Didn't see why they deserved our undaunted loyalty. And now, somebody said to me one day, this was years ago, it doesn't matter how long it takes you to get a revelation, as long as you get one. And so a few years back, I started to think, what do these bastards actually do for any of us? Our inner cities are trash. We don't have any more family structure, hardly. I mean, we're hanging on by a thread as a subculture in America. Our women hate our guts as men. And anything we could do is pretty much seems like retaliatory because we just finally started getting platforms to say our piece. And I'm trying to sit back and think, what the hell, what did we do to our Black women for them to hate us so much? And, I think the Democrats and the liberal policies have something to do with that, with a healthy dose of fourth generation feminism, which Black women have taken to the next level. And so now this is when I put this out, this was before the Kamala Harris effect. Now that she's going to probably be the nominee. So that's a whole nother tangent. And we'll wait to get to that one, probably touch upon it before we're finished. But, for this one, I think Amber Rose has put some kind of change in the minds of the rank and file of people who think about the RNC and think about the Republican Party. It's not just Donald Trump. He might have been the conduit for her, but I don't know if anybody's seen a Republican convention 4 years ago or 8 years ago. I mean, they had to go find the Black person sitting by the bathroom, before he knew it was a Black person even in a crowd. And so we're seeing more and more Black men, particularly saying, you know what, there's nothing in the Democratic Party for us. And it was good to see a woman of mixed race, because she doesn't consider herself Black. So let's get that shit out of the way right now. She's mixed race. And so are a lot of other people. And that's fine because there's 40 million mixed race people in the United States. They don't consider themselves white or Black. Just look it up on Google, somewhere around 40 million. They probably get different numbers depending on where you look. And, that doesn't say what their political leanings are, but it just says that they don't identify as Black Americans. They don't identify as white Americans. They identify as mixed race, which is their right, which is their right. So I don't have any problem with that. And I don't have any problem with her. Now, in terms of her political affiliations, And one of the things that we're going to find out is she's going to talk a little bit about her transition from what she used to be. Now, she's going to be thotting it up, okay? From time to time. But that doesn't mean you can't have some Republican leanings, you know? So I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to the tattoo on the forehead, Anissa. Trust me. That's going to prove my point, right? Because there's no way in hell 4 years ago, 8 years ago, you would have seen a woman who kept a tattoo on her forehead talking at the RNC and being one of the most articulate people on the stage. Matter of fact, I'm going to say it again, but that's indicative about the change that she was up there with that tattoo and her 25 million followers. Anyway, so I don't want to kind of belabor this first part. Let me see who else is in the chat. And Lady D, KP, Anissa, thanks for coming by. Anyway, I know Lady D's gonna just give me shit all day long. Who else? I said a few. Hey, listen, we're gonna have some fun. So listen, if you want to speak from the clouds, feel free to do it. I don't, or you want to cam up, that's even better. I want to hit the first clip. And the first clip, before I get there, I just want to give you a little background. It's a unhinged black person who has this undying loyalty to the Democrats. And, and it's something that, it's just something I think that I just want y'all to hear, what the ladies, it's one of those typical, I'm going to love the master until the end of my life because he's the master. There's no real substance to what she's saying. It's a lady too. But there's enough men like that too. Roland Martin to be one of them. Al Sharpton to be another one. And Crybaby Van Jones is another one. So it's not just women. It's these men who sit up here on these elite podiums and talking all that undying loyalty bullshit. And I don't see how inner city's getting any better. I'm going to just go ahead and say this. A lot of black folks don't look at enough news from the standpoint of what's going on in the inner city. And if you ever really want to know, and I'm going to say this, Anton Daniels puts on a show every day that shows the effery that's going on in our community with all of those goddamn monsters running around. And the black people, the overwhelming amount of black people who work are living in lives of quiet desperation. They can't do the, they got this thing, I can't snitch, I can't do this, and I hope one of those stray bullets doesn't kill my son or my daughter. And we sit down here, we ignore that. You let a white cop kill a black person and we're all up in arms. But we got some savages out there just preying on a community. And, all in those blue states with those liberal mayors and those policies. Let me ask you this. Any of you people have a loved one that was harmed by somebody who should have been in jail for a long time? I have. Just you see the guy's rap sheet, he should have been in jail for the rest of the person's life, but he's out on the street causing havoc. Inner city shit. So anyway, without further ado, I want to say, me, I've been on record for a long time saying divest from the Democratic Party. So I'm not going to harbor on that, but we're going to kind of see how we might be looking at a transition from, hey, how you doing, trucker? Yeah, what's going on? Yeah, man, if you want to cam up, do that too. We're going to see some of the transition from where we could have two parties that at least have some representation of Black Americans in both parties. And that is where, under the stinking system that we have, until the independents grow and become stronger, I'm saying that we have to have representatives across all aisles, because now they have to fight for our votes. We can't have one party taking us for granted, and we can't have the other party ignoring us when they get in power. That is the worst place to be in. So without further ado, BMU, if you want to play the first clip number one, about the
Black Democrat mammies. Nikki Barnes is one of them. I don't even know her, but she just goes hard for anything left, liberal, blue, DNC, Biden administration. But this is a clip from CNN, and this is a problem that we're having with the Democrat mammies, right? This is the problem because they will fall on a sword for that old ass racist Joe Biden.
Joe Biden stays in the race. I'm going to do every single thing I can to defeat Donald Trump, because as a Black woman living in this country that has less constitutional rights than I had from the day that I was born 42 years ago, I refuse to live under Donald Trump's reign again. I refuse to risk our democracy. And Joe Biden is the person right now who is able to defeat him. And so when people are saying, do something to prove that you have the command of the knowledge, and you stand up and you call on 10 reporters and you answer 19 questions for 59 minutes, then I ask you, if you go and say step down, then what is the test that he must prove over and over again? Because then it feels like you, as a person who is calling for him to step down, is being disingenuous. Now, I'm not saying it's not wrong, because that debate was terrible, and Joe Biden has acknowledged that. But as people who are living with the fear of a possible dictator to take over this country, I just ask you, as a Democratic Party, and I'm not super excited about Joe Biden, but I am terrified of Donald Trump, to get it together for the people that you are asked to represent. There is too much at stake. And I don't understand what more people need after a night like tonight to say he is the leader of the free world. I sometimes on television say, like, if there go I, but for the grace of God, that I am not held to the mistakes I make sometimes on television in the days of my life. And I'm a little annoyed and I'm furious, because I talk to Black people who have saved this country over and over, who helped elect Joe Biden, who saved the Democratic Party time again. And Black people are saying, let it go, folks.
Yes, I'm one of those Black people. Let it go. You sound crazy. You look crazy. And listen, I don't want to be sitting up here ragging on Black women, but if you are going to talk shit, whether it's about Black people who vote red or not vote at all, or if you want to sit up here and go hard for the Biden administration, at least make sure your wig is tight, your weave is tight, your hair is tight. You can't come up on TV talking shit and you look a hot mess.
Okay. All right. That's cool. Listen, man, first of all, you know, she called this chick a mammy. And, you know, I guess corresponding Black men who say this, Van Jones, for example, they're Sammys. You know, they're Sammys. You know, I don't want to put the bow on the end. I don't know if it's a strike or not, but they're Sammys. There's no way that any Black person should be extolling the virtues of Joe Biden. Not anybody who's honest about his history. And, you know, we can sit up here and call Trump a racist and all of that kind of stuff. Joe Biden is more of a racist than Trump ever was, because he makes legislation that destroys Black families. I saw him. I was alive. Old ass me was alive watching him destroy your sister code, Anita Hill, in the well of the Senate. And he's almost single-handedly responsible for putting Clarence Thomas on a court, because he would not let Anita Hill bring her witnesses to the stand to testify. I mean, just go check that shit out. You know, he was the one standing on the high school steps when they were trying to segregate a school, saying he don't want these apes in there with his to dirty and sully his lily white children in that school. He was on the steps. He was the one calling your little Black kids cockroaches. He was the one doing a eulogy at a Ku Klux Klan funeral. And he was the one who championed the crime bill that would cast such a wide net. They put a whole bunch of Black men and women in jail for shit that they probably should have done minimal time for. And then the 3-strike rule and all that other horse shit. How can anybody extol this man? It's just uncanny, the brainwashing that a lot of people are under. And so I think we finally starting to see him for what he is, and a cabal of people who've been running this country and giving us under the mind F that we've been under. Now, Trump is no saint. He's more of a criminal probably than a racist, but he's a white nationalist. He likes white people because he's a white man. So what? We like black people because we're black. Well, let me take that back. I'm not so sure black people like black people based on how we treat each other. So, so we can just kind of move from that lady. I wanted to show her undying loyalty for the Democrats because that's the black backdrop that we're in. And it used to put Republicans in a quandary because as little of a population that we have in America, as little as our population is, we have impact in a lot of swing states because that's where our population is gathered, right? We're not in Montana and Utah and these other states and shit like that. We concentrate in those states that become swing states because we're the ones who put them on the edge of being blue from red. So, yeah. And listen, how am I being disingenuous? I'm not. I'm telling you exactly what it is. Most people, when they point to Trump, they say he didn't let a couple of black folks rent an apartment in his apartment building. Okay, so yeah, that's equivalent to somebody putting your whole generation of men in jail. Okay, yeah, I hear you. That's the same. It's bullshit. So okay, so here we go. So just getting back on track. So when Amber Rose went to as one of the keynote speakers for the first day, and she stood up on that RNC stage with the tattoo on her forehead, and she presented an eloquent speech, and nobody can take that away from her. The lady's articulate, I think it moved the needle, and we could talk about it a little bit. I mean, was it long lasting? I don't know, but you can't tell me that none of her 25 million followers on IG or her 3 million followers on X didn't watch it or didn't tune in. That's power. Well, anyway, so without further ado, does somebody want to come up and say something? Why don't we get to my first initial thought about her being there? In clip number 2.1, is that ready? I don't know, BMU, if it's ready to play. If it's not, I can continue on. We're going to play Amber Rose, and you're going to listen to the evolution of a woman. And before I go put that on there, for anybody who don't think that she has the right to say what she has, of course she does, and so do you. We all do. If we're voting American population, we all have a right to say what we want to say. Because that's the First Amendment. Your vote counts. She only gets one vote. However, she moves 24.3 million people on IG and 3-point-something million on X. And I don't think there's a lot of crossover between IG and X followers, or else she would have a whole lot more X followers. So let's just hear what she has to say, and you take what makes sense to you and put the rest on the shelf. But I give the RNC some credit because it's about time they understand and realize that there's a browning going on in America. And when I say browning, that means everybody doesn't consider themselves lily white anymore. And if you want your party to thrive, you have to be inclusive of all people. And as long as they have the same values, as long as they have some other conservatism that we require to move America forward, then you should be willing to hear it from anybody. And the one thing that I also want to say, that she left that tattoo on the top of her head for a reason. That emphasizes the point that, she doesn't look like the rank and file Republican, or she doesn't look like a person that they would ever get an endorsement from. That's going to resonate with millions and millions and millions of people. You can bet, you can guarantee that. And on top of that, the chick is as articulate as hell. You know what I'm saying? So you're talking to an educated woman, no matter what her propensities, no matter what her proclivities, she represents herself. All right, it's cool. So listen, so that's what I was going to say. I saw Nissa's comment. I know everybody goes back to the Central Park Five again. Whatever Trump said about those gentlemen who were wrongfully accused or didn't have the representation and admitted to a crime they didn't commit, he said all those things as a private citizen, right? He, just like every other white man, thought they were guilty. He just happened to be Donald Trump. So his voice was a little louder. I mean, hey, and he was wrong, and those guys are free now. You know, that's not the same as the Southern Democrats with filibustering the Civil Rights Act until a Republican was the one who broke the filibuster. So in 1964, the Civil Rights Act could be passed. Those were the Democrats who were holding that shit back in the Senate. That wasn't the Republicans. That law passed because a Republican man broke the filibuster for your black ass, or for whatever reason he did. And then to top it off, to give us a little icing on the cake, what's it? What Johnson, whoever the president was, passed the Welfare Act or whatever the hell that was, saying that we were too dog shit stupid to stand on our own. So what he's going to do is give welfare as long as women don't have men in the house. Okay, which was the most insidious and egregious thing that could have ever done to us, because we could stand on our 2 feet just like we are right now. So let me tell you, the Democrats have dealt us some deadly blows over the years, and we're just too blind to see it, or we don't want to see it because of the anger, or because we're afraid of the white man. And that's the shit that really gets me. How the hell can we still be afraid of the white man the way we are? It just really, really perplexed me. But a lot of people have professional jobs. A lot of us deal with white people every day in our jobs, in our businesses. We're more comfortable, and I told BMU this, we're more comfortable in a room full of white people than a white person would ever be comfortable in a room full of us. How is that a negative? That means we're more versatile than we are. We buffer the whole country, right? Because all the ills in the country start with us, and then we have to shake that shit off, and then we teach everybody else how to shake it off. But we've lost our way. And the least we could do is stop giving our allegiance to a one-party system. I'm not telling you everybody's not going to change from being a Democrat. Now that Kamala Harris is in a race, I can almost guarantee you every black woman is going to vote for her. Not because she has any policies, not because she's not a blithering idiot. It's just because she's a black woman. And we're still in that stupid thing of let's vote for people because of the color of their skin. That gave us Mayor Adams. That gave you Brandon Johnson. That gave you Gordon Lightfoot or Lori Lightfoot, whatever the hell her name is. I mean, these are the kind of things we need to break away from. What the hell is your policies, and how is it going to benefit me and my family? That's what we need to find out. If runaway inflation, unending wars, gender affirming care for toddlers and adolescents, how is that helping the black family? How is that helping? You know, I mean, that's what I'm saying. How do we benefit from any of this shit? Hey, boss man, how you doing? You know, I don't see how we benefit. We throw out these red herrings like, you know, Project 2025. Well, that's not a government document. That's a document that was written by a private enterprise, and people are using it like it's somehow going to automatically be enacted because our government doesn't have 3 different branches of government. You can't just pass shit and shit just is going to happen. It's just not going to do it. But let me go ahead and say, if we could take the RNC and open them up to a broader coalition, whether it's Trump or somebody else, if we could divide our votes between 2 parties, because there's a 2-party system, most of us are really independents, right? Trying to figure out what we're going to do. No, I shouldn't say that. Most of us are Democrats, and we got to bring that shit down to where a portion are independent and a portion are Republicans, so we could start to see who best fits what our needs are, as opposed to the color of somebody's skin or their liberalism and anything goes, because I feel like we should make everybody get what they want. That shit is not real life. There's no real life in what you call equality of outcomes. There's no such thing, and it never should be. So without further ado, let's go through Amber Rose's speech. And it's like 5 minutes long, but then we could comment on it. And anybody wants to come up after that, you can, say something and shit. And, I have more.
I'm a model and entrepreneur. Thank you. But most importantly, I'm a mother. My whole world revolves around providing for my children, keeping them safe, and giving them an opportunity for a better life. That's something that unites all American parents, whether we're Republicans, Democrats, conservatives, or liberals. We all want a better country for our children. But I'm here tonight to tell you, no matter your political background, that the best chance we have to give our babies a better life is to elect Donald Trump President of the United States. Now, you may be wondering why I'm up here telling you this. I'm no politician and I don't want to be, but I do care about the truth. And the truth is that the media has lied to us about Donald Trump. I know this because for a long time I believed those lies. So I'm here to set the record straight. The first person I knew who supported Donald Trump was my father. I was shocked. My entire family is racially diverse. And I believed the left-wing propaganda that Donald Trump was a racist. My father said, "No, he's not, Amber. What are you talking about?" And when I insisted, he said, "Prove it." So to prove my father wrong, I did my research and looked into all things Donald Trump. People have to do their research. I watched all the rallies, and I started meeting so many of you, his red hat wearing supporters. I realized Donald Trump and his supporters don't care if you're black, white, gay, or straight. It's all love. And that's when it hit me. These are my people. This is where I belong. So I let go of my fear of judgment, of being misunderstood, of getting attacked by the left, and I put the red hat on too. Thank you. Love you too. I never felt more free and more love for my country than I do now. I want to thank my father, who's in the audience tonight, for opening my eyes. He served over 20 years in the U.S. military. Thank you for your service, Dad. Yeah. I love you, Dad. I love you. I love you so much. Thank you. When I met the president and Melania for the first time, he was kind and generous and funny as hell. Very funny. The First Lady was gracious and smart with a smile that will brighten up any room. If you're watching this tonight, you know our country is in trouble. Just like me. When you go to the store and buy food for your family, you're shocked. When you fill up your gas tank, you're pissed. I know I am. And when you turn on the news, you are just exhausted. Inflation is out of control. And you know in your heart it was not like this under Donald Trump. My message to you tonight comes from a humble place. The left told me to hate Trump, and even worse, to hate the other side, the people who support him. When you cut through the lies, you realize the truth. American families were better when Donald Trump was president. We were safer, wealthier, and stronger. A vote for Donald Trump is a vote to put money back in our pockets and good food on our kids' plates. Yes. Or, as Trump would say, it's a vote to make America great again.
All right, that's it. Hey, what's going on, Trey? What's happening, man? What you say so far, man? You up here chowing down and shit, man. What's going on?
I missed my lunch, so excuse me.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
First time I'm eating today, so excuse me for eating. But I mean, look, hoes got to vote too, right?
That's right.
This is the leader of the slut walk, right? So hey, look,
Yep.
They vote, they cast votes, and it makes perfect sense. And I agree with her. I did have more money, and things were cheaper when he was in office. Now, whether that's a result of policies or whatnot, I don't really care. I don't really care. When we do sports, and I'm not going to stick on this, when we do sports, it doesn't matter that a new coach came in and won a Super Bowl and say, well, that was the old coach that built the team. No, it don't matter. Nobody cares. He won a Super Bowl. That's all there is. He came in, things were better under him. It's 4 years proven. And the fact of the matter is that you want to talk about people lying. Democrats been lying for the last 3.5 years.
Oh, 3.5 decades. About the guy, right? They knew.
They knew.
They knew.
They knew. So good. Look, good on Amber Rose. It actually takes some courage to stand up there because people are going to say she's a hoe and she's a slut and she's this and she's that. And, it takes some courage to actually stand up there and actually say, look, I was wrong. They wanted me to lean left, and I did my research, and that's all I ever ask people to do. If you're going to vote Democrat, fine. That's perfectly okay if you're going to vote. But don't vote blindly. Don't vote, say, well, this is just what I'm supposed to do because I'm this and because I'm that. Actually, look at the policies. I can't believe how many people are getting behind Kamala. She ain't said one word about her policies or laws yet. Not one word. She hasn't said one thing yet. And people already, I'm voting for her and voting for her. So that tells me you're already voting for someone blindly just based on party association, affiliation, which is wrong. That's not how it goes. If I didn't agree with Trump's policies, I wouldn't vote for him. Plain and simple.
Right. Yeah, I'm just looking at it. She had one assignment as the vice president, and that was secure the border. That was her official assignment, was to secure the border. So if she was working for a private enterprise, she would have been fired 3 years ago. So she couldn't even she had all the authority that means she had some authority over Homeland Security. She had authority over all those agencies that would secure the border, and she just fumbled. She just ignored it. She visited the border once. So and then let's not talk about what she did in California. She's a chameleon. She gets in. Listen, I can see her getting into the presidency, and we'll have the most crazy liberal policies we ever had. And the country won't even look like the same country at all.
Except if you're a black man.
Forget it. There's nothing in it for black people.
She'll come after you.
That's right. Yeah, there's nothing in it for us, for her being president. But we're gonna have the Don Lemons and the Van Crybaby Jones and the rest of those guys. Man, how could somebody get on TV and cry as much as that fucking guy?
Well, that's the slave mentality. That's what the Democrats want.
That
his slave master is leaving the plantation. That's what he wants. That's what they all want.
And he did a Django +2, man. He did a better job than Samuel L. Jackson. I seen him say, "Oh my God, I love this man." I said, "What do you mean you love the man? What are you talking about?"
You don't know him. You don't know the man.
Oh, believe it, man. It's like he does. I said, man, he certainly didn't do no research on this dude. So anyway, so we heard Amber Rose, and I want to play, and we don't have to belabor this. I want to play the first clip, or the third clip, point one, which shows the Democrat response, the liberal response to what she said, her speech. So if you could play that one, I guess that's at 5:25. We can hit that one.
And then first you're hearing from an everyday American talking, but then a social media influencer with 23 million followers who young people are looking at, and young voters are up for grabs this election. Throw in there also, Donald Trump is now a meme everywhere. You know, best not miss if you're going to shoot the king. Like, this is what is on TikTok. This is what tens of millions of young voters who are not necessarily decided, they don't have longstanding party affiliation, are seeing. He's making a play there. It's very smart. And to be honest, she was one of the most effective communicators we've seen tonight.
I'll admit something. I had no idea who this was. So I looked it up, and then I called a friend of mine, and I said, "Do you know who this is?" And they didn't know. Also a political person. But that's the point. They have put someone on the stage who reaches into this whole group of Americans who are not necessarily engaged at all in our politics or in our civics. These kinds of voices, I heard some grousing about this from some of the conservative. This is how you change the composition of the electorate.
Yeah, that was probably the most dangerous speak for the Democratic coalition. That is a young woman of color. She's describing the experience a lot of people have, feeling that maybe if you're around.
Don't keep going.
To me, liberals, you might get criticized too much, or you might not be able to speak your mind. And she spoke to it really well. And she's way more famous than any of us up here. Yeah. I'm going to tell you that, way more famous. And so, to the extent that these guys are trying to bust up our coalition, that was a bunker buster right there.
By the way, and it's one of the things we've been talking about, but there are speakers who speak to the room, and there are speakers who speak through the television screen. She speaks through the camera to the audience at home, not, I mean, she's effective in the room, but when you're yelling into the room, that is not communicating directly through the lens.
This person is super talented. Okay, like, this person knows how to speak plainly and directly, knows how to use the camera, the cadence of it. They got something there.
Yeah, and it really is hard. In those big arenas, it's hard not to want to fill up the room. You want to scream and make sure the grandma in the back can hear you. But you're not talking to the 30,000 people there. You're talking to the 30 million people at home. And she was the most effective. You can be heard in the hall, but you're in somebody's living room. She understood that. And I would not be surprised if she doesn't have a political future.
Yeah, you can tell that she's somebody who...
There you go. So, I mean,
well, to be fair, Arpain, she's quite used to coming through the screen. I mean, let's be fair.
Yeah.
She's done it for a living. That's what she does. It was her job, and probably still is her job for a long time, to make men feel like she was in the room with them. So I can understand where they're coming from. They're saying, Anissa. Because she says these things, but there's no proof to it.
I know.
The man was already in office for 4 years, and none of that happened. None of that happened. He's already proven. Are you just saying stuff? This is why women can't be in these positions. Because you're just talking. You're just yapping. Yeah. You're just yapping. What policy has set us back? What policy did Trump enact that the Senate or the Congress or the Senate approved that set black people back? Take your time, Anissa.
She got nothing. The emperor don't have no clothes, man. I'm serious. Not on that one.
As they should have. But anyway, the point I'm making is that Amber Rose, listen, this isn't her first time speaking directly to people. This time she just had on more clothes. That's all. But
That's all.
But this again to me shows just how far along and how at this point seasoned Trump's team is when it comes to, because this isn't his first go around. He knows what to do. I say, you guys think that he wasn't, that his team wasn't prepared for Biden stepping away? Of course his team is ready for that. What team would not be ready for, hey, this is potentially what's going to happen down the line. Let's start developing a game plan for Kamala too. Any good coach is always prepared for the backup and the specialty plays and all. They knew this was more than likely going to happen. They got something for Kamala too. They ready for her too. This just goes to show just how seasoned and ready they are for what lies ahead. That they can go pull a woman, excuse me, that organizes a slut walk and get her to stand up on the stage, put a dress on, cover up everything she got, and talk directly to 23 million people.
Right. And I think I think, and she left that, I've seen her when she covers up that tattoo. She left that up there for a purpose. I mean, it wasn't like, she left it up there to say, you know what, this is not your old party no more. A person with a head tattoo is up there speaking to you and eloquent as hell and shit. And just as modestly as she could be with all those curves and shit. And man, I just say, holy shit, man. Go ahead, Amber. So she was just one of them, because that all the way up until this Trump speech, they had all kinds of different people speak. They had some of his biggest enemies saying, well, you know what? It's time to circle wagons. It's time to circle wagons. Not like the Democrats, like just eating their young. I mean, what they did to Biden was disgraceful.
Well, one of the guys who spoke the worst about him is now his VP.
That's right.
JD Vance used to go in on Trump.
Yeah, that is true.
And again, this just goes to show how seasoned their team is. You keep your enemies closer. Hey, bring them in. Let's offer them VP. Let's get one of these guys that can really, with his influence and his beliefs, affect our campaign going forward. He could say some crazy stuff in October-ish, late October-ish that could sway people. Let's bring them in, offer them. They figure this out. They understand this game and how to play. And Kamala is so far, they're so far behind.
Oh man. Whew. And they want her to be, she still has to go through the process in order to get the nomination. They can't just put her in there. They got to switch those delegates over, and they all have to agree, or else it could be a fight on the floor. So we'll see.
They said they're going to have a virtual roll call.
Okay.
They're going to have a virtual roll call, and they're going to determine who they want to put up. But Biden only had 4,000 of the 4,700 delegates. Okay. There were still 700 super delegates that had not made a decision yet.
Okay.
And the beauty of the super delegates is that if there's a second round, they get to vote again, right, on who they want. It's going to be quite interesting. It looks like he's raised almost $100 million in like 36 hours or some crazy stuff like that. So it looks like it's more than likely going to be her.
Yeah, it is.
But
hey, man, they said the AKAs are all over the place, man. The Divine Nine and all that shit.
Yeah, well, of course, the Divine Nine is going to have her back. But is that enough? Because it wasn't enough to get her the Democratic national candidacy when she was going up against Biden. So is that enough?
I hope not. I mean, you know what? Listen, it should be interesting. Hey, listen, BMU, can you play the second part of that third clip? It's short. It's very short. It's another unhinged sister that I just want to. That last part.
The Republican Party is doing this, making this effort to court black voters. And I think that Amber Rose was an attempt, and it was a failed attempt. Amber Rose is not where the culture is. It's not the person that black voters are going to take their political cues for. And it just was weird, quite honestly. And so when you talk in the group chats, when you're on Twitter, when you're just having conversations, people are like, what did she say? Like, these are my people. And we're like, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. You know what, man? I tell you what, that forehead reminds me of the Five Fingers of Death guy in that movie. I don't know if everybody remember that old karate movie. But listen, first of all, Amber Rose, I didn't come up there to just speak to black people. I think she speaks more for people who consider themselves mixed race. And a lot of people don't understand that she says it a lot, that she's mixed race, even though she lives like a black life. There's like 40 million mixed race people in the United States who don't, but it really doesn't have anything, might not have anything to do with their politics, but there's a lot of people clamoring to be identified for who they feel they are, as opposed to just being black or white, just because their skin color is brown. It's a lot of people like that, you know? So, and that's what she represents. Now, I don't know who her 25 million followers, mostly of them are probably men, you know, for the most part, but she probably has a significant amount of women as well, because it's a lot of sluts out there. You know, it's a lot of sluts out there. You know, so I don't know, man. So anyhow, so I just was trying to, I'm just kind of.
Arpain, so you have two other commentators to include. Right. Was that Anderson Cooper?
Yeah.
On the clip before,
right?
That's the
same clip. That
Amber, that was a problem. Amber did exactly what she was supposed to do.
Exactly.
And here we have a black woman who basically says, "Nah, I didn't mean nothing."
Yeah,
Sweetie, you're talking from feeling. See, this is what I'm talking about. You're talking from a place of feeling. You just don't like Amber. Okay, fine, cool.
Right.
But what she did, was it effective? Did she just sway some people? Quite possibly. Quite possibly, she may have just swayed a few 100,000 people to vote in a different direction.
Maybe.
That's the whole point of the RNC and the DNC. That's the whole point, is to get these guys up there to have people talk glowingly about them and say how great they are, right? They're going to do the same thing at the DNC, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
The whole point is to get people up there and essentially pander to communities and groups and say, here's why you should be voting for the Republicans, or here's why you should be voting. Like, I don't understand how she missed all of that.
She did it on purpose. Okay, what is she saying here? I go to rappers and all.
Well, you should start with the Democratic Party, because they do it the most.
Yeah, actually, or Saucy Santana. You know, he made a record, right? I mean, you know what I'm saying? With that disgusting record he made. Listen, I don't know where you're coming from, man. I know there's a lot of black women who are definitely afraid of Donald Trump for some reason or the other. You know, I mean, it's crazy. I think they just don't.
You know what I find funny? I find funny that a lot of women, like older women who are postmenopausal, got issues with their abortion. Like it doesn't even affect you.
Yeah.
You're postmenopausal, like it's not even gonna have an effect on you. But he's gonna ban abortion. But that don't affect you. You 63 years old.
Yeah, don't even get me started on the abortion issue. First of all, it probably should have never been a federal law anyway. The states can handle it. You know. Here's the thing: when they say you're in a red state that has these draconian laws, you move, right? When people started to move out of California because of excessive taxes and all the things they didn't like about the crimes in the city, people moved, or the big migration from the south to the north. If you really don't want to live in a place where you can't have unfettered right to scrape out babies anytime you want, move. Just move. Move to a blue city where you could just go ahead and, make an appointment, every time you get pregnant, because you're busting it down for a real one, like my man Anton always says, and just move. So all I'm just trying to say, it's not like the A word is, or the deletion is made illegal. It's not. You can just go to the states where it's legal. And if that makes you move from one state to another, as opposed to being responsible for your womb, then more power to you. It's so idiotic. Now, I think that the Republican Party, and this is what I do believe, is trying to. There's a middle ground. When I did that whole thing here on this channel about the 10 laws I would change, there's real easy compromises for that, right? Where both sides will be a little bit mad, but women can still have the exceptions they require for the health of the mother, incest, SA, birth control, all that kind of stuff. You can make those compromises, but so that's when government works. You know, that's when it works. But anybody thinks that they should have unfettered rights to do what the hell they want. I don't agree with that. We don't, as men, we don't. When that black lady said, well, her rights have been taken away, I would like to know which right she's talking about. We have a woman who's going to run for president, right? And all these women will come out here and say, vote for Kamala Harris. But the women who want to vote for her don't want to sign up for selective service. Why should they have a woman who's president if they don't want to sign up for selective service? Why should we have a president represent us as a woman if women don't want to fully participate in the responsibilities of being a citizen? You know, so I mean, you can't have every time, you know, it's just they can't have it both ways. This shit bothers me. You know what I'm saying? Now, Amber Rose is not really she's not, but she might be Christian, but she doesn't have Christian values, right? We know that. She might, you know, she says she might be conservative, but that has to be issue by issue. But she can be a Republican. So my last clip, I want to play my man Officer Tatum. You ever watch Officer Tatum? Never heard him? He goes through what he defines as the difference between a Republican, a conservative, and a Christian, and they could all be in the same party with an open umbrella. So I think he could do it better than me. So.
A lot of controversy going on with Amber Rose. Me and Bryson Gray was just on a live stream talking about Amber Rose. People have a problem. Some people have a problem with Amber Rose being at the Republican National Convention. Let me just put this in perspective. There is a difference between Republican, conservative, and Christian. And I think a lot of people conflate all three of those together as like the trinity of politics. That's not the way it goes. If you say you're a Christian, you need to be abiding by Christian values in Jesus Christ of Nazareth, and that is a closed unit. If you're a conservative, that means you espouse conservative values. If you're a Republican, that means you're voting for Republicans. That's what being a Republican is. You can be a liberal and still vote Republican and associate yourself with the Republican Party. You can be gay, lesbian, trans, gender identifying queer, or whatever they call themselves today, and still vote for Republicans and be a Republican. You can't do all that and be a conservative, because those are not conservative values, and you cannot be those things and be Christian. People have a problem with what she said or how she represented at the National Committee. I think her speech was actually really good. I'm going to play a little bit of her speech so you can hear it. I don't want to play 7 minutes of it. And then I want to show how the media and everybody is losing their mind over this. When I think that Amber Rose is a net positive, even if she don't got it all figured out yet, even if she ain't a staunch Christian yet, I think that the value that she brings is that the everyday person, somebody that don't typically is a white male, somebody that's in the industry, somebody that got a lot to lose, come out and say, man, you know what? I'm voting for Trump. It's very inspiring to people that have a broad brain that wasn't a conservative their whole life.
Hey, boss man, why don't you come on? You know what? Even if you talk from the cloud, man, come say your piece.
Jail for she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way. Bottom line is, Senator Harris, when you are in a position to make a difference and an impact in these people's lives, you did not. And worse yet, in the case of those who are on death row, innocent people, you actually blocked evidence from being revealed that would have freed them until you were forced to do so. There is no excuse for that. And the people who suffered under your reign as prosecutor, you owe them an apology.
Senator Harris.
That's my girl called Tulsi Gabbard, man. I didn't add that.
Old Tulsi eating her ass alive, boy.
So is anybody up on who put that in? Black Man Filter? Anyway, so that's a nice bonus, man. I didn't have that clip, so that's an extra one. Yeah, you know, she's gonna have to answer to some of that stuff. You know, so when I put this out here, she wasn't going to be the presumptive nominee. I think she will be. I don't think they can go any other way. Let me say, if she's not the nominee for president, then the Democrats are definitely done. for this election. They'll be definitely done. She's got to run. She's got to run. But you know what? Trump better not rest on his laurels. He better not rest on his laurels. He can't make any mistakes. Yeah, that's my girl Tulsi, man. She's
no. Listen. Trump said it himself. He would much rather have had to go against Biden. Biden would have been an easier win. I'm not going to sit here and act like Kamala is going to be easy as a walk in the park, right? Got to give her credit. She's sharp, okay? She's going to be prepared. She's going to be ready, right? This is no walk in the park. Trump going to have to earn it. But here's what I know. Here's what I know. I know that Trump has already faced off against a woman. I know that Trump not only faced off against any woman, he faced off against a white woman. I know that Trump faced off against a woman who was a former first lady, and she was a former senator, and he beat her. And he beat her.
That's true.
We've already been down this road, and I know that he'll be prepared. I know this team will have him prepared. All he has to do is try to stay away from, because she's going to try to trap him into saying something misogynistic. She's going to. He just has to avoid that landmine. If he avoids that landmine of, women or this and women or that, he'll be fine. Because that's what she's going to try to do. She's going to try to get him to trip up and say something crazy. But she'll be ready and she'll be prepared. He got a fight on his hands. There's nobody sitting here saying that Kamala is not going to be prepared. We know that she will be prepared.
She's going to be prepared.
He got a fight on his hands for sure.
She's going to have a tremendous backing behind her. I don't know how many white women are going to want her, but she's going to have all the sisters. I could tell you that.
But my problem is the sisters don't know why our pain.
But it doesn't matter to them. It don't matter.
That's the problem.
It don't matter. Well, yeah, but it don't matter.
Like if you ask them, okay, you like Kamala, fine. Tell me why. Well, I just like her.
I feel.
She's a part of. She went to Howard, or she did. Tell me something about her policy. Tell me what law she's going to enact or law she's going to abolish. Tell me something, because she doesn't have any Supreme Court seats. There won't be any Supreme Court seats. Last I checked, they were all full.
They're all full.
So she won't be appointing any. She won't be appointing any justices. So tell me what about our policy? When people ask me why I vote for Trump, I can tell you I agree with his immigration policy. I agree with his transgender policy in sports. I agree there's things that he has that I'm like that. I agree with those things. I have a daughter, and my daughter will be 6. She's starting to get into sports. I don't want her competing against boys. These things matter, right? To me, and I can actually explain it. But when we get a bunch of black women around and say, well, why do you like it? None of them can explain why I just like them. Oh, because her hair is laid. Oh, because she's this. Oh, she wear a nice suit. Like, you can't tell me anything about our policies, and that is going to be the failure of this country of just voting blindly for someone just because.
Well, then, you said something. Why are men more against the transgender in sports than women are? I mean, it's the craziest shit I heard, man. I remember the women fought like hell for Title IX. Why would they be so anxious to just give it up so they could make a whole bunch of men who feel like women get their way? It's the stupidest shit. It's unhinged. It's just like when we did the video here a few months ago on women, do they have the right temperament to be president? And we have so much receipts that when women get power, man, they go crazy. From Fannie Willis to Marilyn Mosby to all the women they put in jail who were maids. We're talking about in the last 8 years. To even Kamala Harris and her crazy ass self as AG. So it's just somehow with wielding power, it goes to their heads so fast that they forget you can't do what everybody else has done. Hey, boss man, you up there? What's going on, man?
Good evening. What's up? Not too much. How are you?
All right. I saw you said something. What you got on the whole subject?
So I caught the last couple of parts. What I was commenting on earlier was predominantly the abortion part, and I wanted to kind of pinpoint what the actual issue is on the abortion part.
Okay. Well, why don't we just say baby deletion part? Because I think we're kind of squeamish. I guess we're still squeamish on that on YouTube.
Okay. So predominantly the main issue is largely is who pays for it is predominantly the issue. Okay. And
Okay.
my stance on it is that everyone should have that. Everyone should have that choice. Now, do whether or not I agree with it on a moral point or not, that's neither here nor there.
What do you mean by everyone? When you say everyone, you mean men and women or just women?
Well, women are the only ones able to have that procedure. So
yeah, so it's not everyone. You mean every woman. You got to say it that way because I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you why every woman. After you finish. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, everyone. I agree with you. Why? Every woman, because otherwise you start having a bunch of other issues. And the reason why I said this is because the reason on the Republican side, or on the red or conservative side, the only reason why they say, or it's stated, that someone shouldn't be able to do so is only because of a religious reason. And in this country, we're not supposed to put forth, or we're not supposed to put preferential treatment over one religion. We're not supposed to prefer or put preferential treatment or make statute or law based on religious background or religious foundation. So with that in mind, that being only secular, that has no foundation to say that, well, we can't play God and God this and God that and God this. There should be no religious foundation or religious principle when writing or deploying any type of statute or legislation. So with that in mind, that reason becomes moot. So then now, what is the secular reason? Well, now the issue is who pays for it. Now, here's where I agree. There should not ever be a taxpayer situation, taxpayer funding for that procedure. It should be a single payer situation. That I agree with. Now, what people fail to understand is that people only think of that procedure to be only the plight of certain people who are irresponsible for their bodily situation and their health and so on and so forth. But I also look at it as an economic situation. If my wife and I decide that we don't want to increase the size of our family because of an economic situation, we should have that choice between a husband and wife, and not be forced to have as many children or whatever the case may be. We shouldn't be, forced to. I shouldn't be forced to have one procedure, or she shouldn't be forced to have another procedure because the government is saying that she should be forced to have children, even though she may or may not be of a certain age where it's not healthy for her to be able to do so. So it's not because.
Bossman, I hear you. Let me just, before you keep going on, because you said a lot of things. One. Nobody forces families to have kids. Just don't live in a state where the laws don't let you have them. You can have a woman, so I mean, it's not like we got blue states and we got red states. And even in some of the red states, they have exceptions. But I know they got draconian red states, but it's like 3 or 4 that you can count on your hand. And some of their things are being shot down as well. So, this is like I told Trey earlier. People move from state to state for all kinds of reasons, economic reasons. People move from state to state for even religious reasons, job reasons. If you live in a state where you think their laws on deleting babies is too strict, then move.
Well, here's the problem with that.
There's no problem with that. There's no problem with that. You can say it's an issue. I'm gonna let you say. Let me just finish my statement. Finish your statement, and I'll tell you why there's no issue with it.
There is an issue with it because if you have a situation where the government is now going to say, or purport to say, that they're going to put in a nationwide ban, if that is the idea, if it's not, fine, then you're absolutely right.
Well, let's talk about what we have now. You're projecting. Let's talk about what's real right now.
And you're right.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. There is no nationwide ban. Listen, think about the flex, not the flex, but what people are saying. One, they struck down a nationwide law from the federal level about Roe v. Wade, but all of a sudden the Supreme Court they're going to put a new law that's a federal law saying you can't have one across the whole country. That doesn't even make any sense.
Well, I'll correct you there, because here's the problem with that. Most people think that it was a law. It wasn't. The Supreme Court does not make a law.
Let's not mince words. We're talking about Roe v. Wade.
Roe v. Wade wasn't a law. It was not a law.
Okay, so you're mincing words. Whatever it was how a United States operated across the whole land, right?
Okay, I agree with that.
All right, so that's what I'm saying. So they're not going to all of a sudden. So this pseudo law like Roe v. Wade, they strike that down and put it back to the states, and now they're going to put a hard line law in there that nobody can get a baby deletion across the whole country. Come on, this shit don't even make any sense.
Hold on, RP. Hold on. Is you saying Roe v. Wade wasn't case law?
It was case law, but it wasn't statute. Correct.
Hang on. How do you think laws are enforced, sir?
Statute. Okay, so first, case law is only argued. Case law is
getting ready to take me down a long road. This is simple. If you charge someone with murder, what do they use to back the law?
Case law.
Yes, they
use case law, sir.
They use case law. Yes,
when
I
was
understand.
when I was in the academy,
yes,
we would learn murder is wrong, and then we spend 2 weeks on case law. So how is Roe v. Wade? They use
case law. They use case law for precedent, but case law is built off.
How do you think they're able to charge people?
They use case law to base off of statute. Without statute, you cannot use case law. You have to have statute to build up a foundation.
Have no statute.
No, you have to have statute first. Case law builds precedent. You have to have statute in order to have precedent.
How many criminal trials have you tried?
How many have you tried?
I've testified in hundreds. How about you?
Okay.
How about you?
I haven't testified in any, but I can tell you is that statutorily speaking, you have to have a statute in place in order to have a case, in order to have precedent.
So let
me say this.
Go ahead. We hear you. Go ahead.
No, I just want to say this real quick. First of all, we're on a.
This is hilarious because I don't see guys running up and down the street mad that they can't transport their firearm to the next state. I mean, because I live in a blue state, and if I transport to Illinois, I go to jail if I carry there because of their laws. And we had a Second Amendment right when the Constitution was initially stated. See, this is a joke, man. People are playing this game with these words. It was kicked back to the states. If you have a problem with it, go to another state. That's all you got to do. I don't live in Illinois because I don't want to, because of their laws. I'm 8 hours away from there.
Oh, because of their statute law, right?
It doesn't matter, boss man.
Games, bro. The word. Here's the issue. No. This is not liberal issue.
Let me finish. I did not interrupt you, please. I did not interrupt you. I let you you talk for a long time too. All I'm saying is this, man. This is a joke because you can still get it done where you want to get it done, when you want to get it done. If you need it that bad, get it done. All this crying about it not being the law of the land anymore. Okay, let's think about this. So we're going to complain about the population of Black America, but then at the next breath, we're going to say we want a right to delete them. I don't want to hear it. It's a joke.
Okay.
Real quick.
Go ahead.
Real quick. Let me interject real quick. I just want to say this though. I want to add to the conversation. Basically, it's if you really sit down and just be human for about 5 seconds, we're sitting here arguing if women can just go poke a hole in the baby's head and kill them. Then we start there. I'm just gonna let that breathe. Second thing is, I do not believe that Kamala Harris should be president of the United States. I don't think any woman should. I think women are too emotional. From commentating to being on CNN. Can y'all hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I hear you.
Oh yeah, from commentating to doing anything.
I muted so he could speak. I didn't hear him. That's why I muted.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I don't think they should that they should be there. And even in the chat, they're saying, "What about the kids?" And I put a scripture in the chat because I went Bible on them because most people use that. And I said that no woman is permitted to have authority or teach a man. And then the response back was, "Well, why are they teaching your children?" And the Bible says it is for the woman to nurture the boy and the man to give him direction. And when he's older, he is not a woman not to have authority over him because a cub turns into a lion. And so I think that we have to be particular on what we read. However, I don't think that Kamala Harris should be president of the United States. I don't think she'll be able to handle it. And I'll give you an anecdotal experience, maybe not anecdotal because it was nationwide. I was in Louisiana. I lived in Louisiana my entire life, born, raised there. And during Hurricane Katrina, we had a governor, Kathleen Blanco.
Oh yeah.
And when the floods hit and that levee broke in my hometown where I lived, guess what happened? She panicked. She sent the National Guard to shoot people. She panicked. She was very emotional. If you catch people stealing, shoot them. If they break it in grocery stores, shoot them. I was there when my father got the school bus and drove through the floodwaters to the Superdome to pick those people up. And I remember the smell. And I remember the bloated bodies floating up in the water. My dad had told me, sit down. Sit down, son. Don't move. Don't say nothing to nobody. Don't touch nobody. Right? I was there. I lived there. I lived it. And so I seen Kathleen Blanco completely fumble an entire state during Hurricane Katrina. It took 5 days to get water to the Superdome. 5 days for people to get bottled water. 5 days for people to get medical attention. She was all over the place. She had no idea what to fucking do in chaos. And so I don't think the country, we can't have the country like that. I don't think Kamala Harris is ready for that. Yeah, she could put her pearls and her chucks on, but put them bitches on and support from the sideline. I do not trust her. I believe in her. I think that she did everything she could in California to stomp a hole in every man's ass that she could. And I would rather not vote than to vote for her, period. And I land my plane there.
Well, listen, a few months ago, maybe a month ago, we did that. Do black women have the temperament to be president, or any woman for that matter? But there are a couple. I mean, there are some women who became good leaders, but it takes a special woman to be able to do that. And she ain't one of them, and she's definitely not one of them. She ain't no she ain't no Maya Go-Ahead, whatever that name was, or Margaret Thatcher, or shit, anybody like that. Those women have been groomed by men, and they acted like men. So they thought like men. So I just say, she's not ready. The country's not ready. And I can't imagine who her running mate be. I just have this nightmare that it'll be Pete Buttigieg.
Yeah, they're gonna put man. Don't.
Yeah, and just for that same reason.
Let me say this too. I don't want to hear anything else from Christians about God, about Bible, about Scripture, about nothing. Because when it comes to things that they like, they're willing to manipulate the Word of God to put in position what they want. If the Bible says no woman should have authority over a man, that's across the board. That means Kamala Harris should not be giving orders to men who could kill her.
That's politics, black man. That has nothing to do with Democrats. That's politics.
God damn. I'm just saying, I'm talking about the people just saying, oh, well, we need
I know what
no,
you're saying,
hell
BMU,
no.
I think too, BMU.
And the reason why women can't have authority over men, because they can't hold them accountable. A woman cannot go up to Trey. I thought about you last week when I saw that TikTok video of 5 women police officers getting their asses beat by one man. They couldn't get him down on the ground. They couldn't put the cuffs on. He was beating the shit out of them until they called those real police officers to come over and tackle him down and put him in cuffs. I'm telling you, women need to know their place. You're soft. You're nurturing. You're loving. Caring.
Did you see the Secret Service here today?
The Donald Trump assassination attempt is a prime example.
Did you see the hearing today? Did y'all see the hearing today?
And the men were running up on the stage to cover.
BMU, wait till you see the hearing today. Wait till you watch it
later. Oh yeah, I didn't watch the hearing.
Like wow, the hearing was today, man. It was embarrassing.
Yeah, remember when I told you that she said she had a smoke room?
The head of the Secret Service, she was embarrassing, bro.
Oh, of course, she's
no.
definitely-
No. I did see it. She kept asking, and the lady told her, I forgot the lady's name, the congressman's or senator's name. She said, "You're full of shit. You are full of shit." She said, "You come in here, you're unprepared, and you are full of shit, and everything that you're saying today is bullshit." And it's like, "Can we please have some decorum?" She was like, "No, she's full of shit."
She said that shit.
She said it. She said it out of her mouth. "You're full of shit. That's bullshit."
Yep, she wasn't. Hey,
Which
hold on.
senator was that?
Let me pander to the crowd.
Let me look it up real quick.
She was answering like Brownsville when y'all had him on.
Listen, man.
I don't know why that woman just didn't step down, man. That's crazy. I don't know why she just.
No, but remember, nobody believed me when she said that she didn't put a Secret Service guy on the roof because it was sloped. And everybody said, "You lying, you lying." That's exactly what she said, man. And she said it with a straight face. I said, "Are you kidding me?" You know, she
I tell you one thing though, I'd have been mad as hell if I got that assignment on a slope roof though. I'd have been pissed.
But it wasn't even that slope, man. It wasn't like it was a night.
If y'all ain't never had to stand on a hill or stand on a slope for 4 hours, don't talk to me. I don't want to hear it. I would have been mad as hell.
Yeah, that's tough.
Well, okay, but you still would have did it.
You would have did the job.
Well, of course I would have done my job, but I'd have been pissed. I might have let him get off a shot or two and then take him out.
That's funny, man. She said
another embarrassing part about this whole thing is that they knew the condition of the guy. They ran him out there. They lied for that long, and now they're gonna pull her out like it's a ace of spades in the spades deck. They basically reneged on the niggas.
What you mean? Why you say that? Why you say that?
They reneged, and basically they put somebody in there they claim, and we just been hearing this song for the last month. They not like us. She sure ain't like us because she ain't black.
Oh, she's definitely a chameleon, man.
Is Jamaican considered black?
No, it is.
Trey, they was telling us weeks ago that somebody else wasn't black because their mama wasn't black. I mean, I'm just going.
No, but she doesn't consider herself black. They asked her that. She said, "I consider myself Asian or Indian or whatever."
Yeah, there were articles. There were articles that was written when she was first elected that said she was the first Indian woman senator. It was articles that was written that said that. I read the articles.
Yeah, what can you say, man? All I'm just trying to say is, listen. I mean, get back to
our pain. She identifies as a black woman now. I guess that works. I guess she identifies
only when it's convenient. Only when she was pledging, maybe. You know.
Oh, yeah.
So
when she was dating Montel, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Black then.
There was
all of her like dating history is starting to come out.
It was all black men.
These streets.
Yeah.
She was out in these streets, man.
Yeah. Then she found herself a nice little secure white dude, and with kids already, so she didn't have to have them.
Hey, that's not a normal. That's a 24 karat person, sir. You got them mixed up. That's a 24 karat person.
Yeah. Well, if you say so. Well, other than that, man. So listen. So let's get to the brass tacks.
I have that video. It'll be ready in 2 minutes of her telling her.
Yeah. When you're ready, put it up there. How long is it? It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. I just asked that. It don't matter. Whatever it is what it is. So, what do you guys think about the Amber Rose effect on these? And not just her, but does the Republican, the National Convention, does it kind of seem like they're kind of shifting to try to be more broad or not?
They're trying to.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, ultimately. Yeah. I mean, I think they've always made attempts to broaden the spectrum, but I think people actually try to actually make it out to be worse than what it actually is. But there have always been black conservatives all across the board, and there's more than I think liberals actually give people credit for. Actually,
but they're silent.
Hell, Donald Trump has been has been, chummy with Black conservatives and, throughout his entire, throughout his entire existence, even before he even transitioned over to the Republican ticket. Even when he was donating to the Democratic side, he was actually still chummy with Black conservatives even then. So I because the liberal, not liberal, but the conservative side is largely white and not so much colorful, if you will. I think whenever you do see someone like an Amber Rose or like a Condoleezza or whoever, when you see people like that, I think they make it seem like they're trying to pander, but hell, Democrats do the same shit. So, over.
No, that's true. I mean,
I got the video ready. You ready?
All right, yeah, whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Here we go.
Opening statement to Punchbowl News, Politico's playbook, and Washington Post several hours before you sent it to this committee as being political. Yes or no?
I have no idea how my statement got out.
Well, that. Have you provided all audio and video recordings in your possession to this committee, as we asked on July 15th? Yes or no?
I would have to get back to you.
That is a no. You're full today. You're just being completely dishonest.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr.
Chairman, I want to.
Come on.
We have to maintain decorum in this committee, no matter how
Have you provided
upset we
any
get.
and all memos to this committee that we've asked you on July 15th? Have you provided all memorandums within the Secret Service?
I would have to get back to you on
that. Is a no. You are being dishonest or lying. You're being dishonest here with this committee. These are important questions that the American people want answers to, and you're just dodging.
So listen, you know what about these stupid ass hearings? Why come they can't just throw the cuffs on the bitch or something like that?
Hey, exactly.
I mean, is she under oath or not?
Yeah, she's in front of a committee. She's under oath.
If that was Trey, he'd be in jail right now.
She's
Let
me
me just say, I remember when the steroid crisis was big in baseball, and they let all of those guys come up here, and they didn't swear. They didn't have to swear oath. I think I don't know if it was the owners or someone.
It was the players. Remember?
No, they had more than just the players up there, but I think the players had to go under oath. But the owners or some people who were in charge, they didn't have to go under oath. Or maybe it could have been that, or it could have been the Enron thing. It could be one of those two things.
Her evasiveness makes me believe she's under oath. She's just being too careful with her words. She don't want to say anything.
No, of course not.
Which makes me believe she's probably under oath.
Nah, well.
You got to remember how how this works. Like, I guarantee you, the moment that this happened, that Secret Service PR team got in there and started prepping her.
Yes.
They started prepping her for answering questions without actually answering a question.
Yeah. I don't see how you can get up there and just bullshit. I mean, the lady, that Mace lady, she is crazy though, but she's like that. She's a whole card herself. But I don't see how you can get away with that. I mean, even if you're in contempt of Congress or Senate, there should be some ramifications for bullshit. I mean, there should be. Well, we can't do that. Regular citizens can't do that. And she's not stepping down because the Democrats, they just can't let her step down. She's appointed by Biden or whoever was running the government.
It don't matter. January 2025, she fired anyway. She out of there.
Yeah, that's if he wins. I mean, this is not fait accompli.
Ain't no if. This shit done. It's over.
Yeah, man. I tell you what, man. I would never say that, man.
We just call this protocol. We just doing protocol at this point.
Okay.
We already know how this
I
is
think
done.
it's over too, Payne. I'm with Trey.
Like we used to know who was going to get promoted and everything. We were just going through the motions. We already know what's going to happen.
Yo, listen, man. I just thought the dude could sit there. Yeah, go ahead.
They're just going to ramp up the level of fear more in the subconscious of most people. They're just going to keep ramping up the fear level. That's the only way they can do. You know what I'm saying?
I could agree with that. And then they're going to try to pay on for whatever word for black voters. They're going to say, well, here's your opportunity to make history and all that other horse shit, man. I think that's the number one thing we got. Go ahead.
I heard one of the brothers say it's our chance to save democracy again.
I tell you what, man, the liberal policies are the worst policies against democracy ever.
Ever.
I mean,
well, they don't use democracy to pick the next Democratic nominee.
They don't even want to do that.
They don't even want to use democracy.
That's right. They don't even want to do that. So it's just all bullshit. They've been gaslighting for years, man. These guys are crazy. Listen, all of the amendments are under attack. I mean, the Supreme Court handed the Democrats one when they say that you could still get in cahoots with the social media owners and kind of bend them and tell them what to say and what not to say. That's why they hate Elon Musk so much. And even he has limits, But, you say a couple of shit right here on YouTube. We only can say certain things. We got to all be like this. On Facebook, they'll shadow ban your ass in a minute. And, or same with IG and all that kind of stuff, or TikTok, forget it. If you say anything about, they can say anything. If you're a woman, you can say almost anything on TikTok. But if you're a man, forget
it. I agree with that.
So anyway.
Yeah, but when does TikTok go away? Does it go away like October or something like that?
It depends. It depends on what they decide to do.
I thought they had already ruled on TikTok.
So they ruled on it, but TikTok needs to make a decision. If they're going to sell,
if they're going to sell, yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, if they need to sell to an American entity. If they don't, then the servers for basically, I'm not going to go into it, but the server basically is going to cut them off to access to American servers. Basically,
do we know what the vote was on that? Because to me, that's the biggest. We have to weigh the First Amendment against the national security, and this whole horse shit about privacy and national security is just bullshit to me, man. All of us are butt naked to the world, no matter this whole imaginary that we have all kinds of privacy. It's just crazy. We just don't.
I'll have to look up and see who mainly voted for that one.
The Democrats did for sure, right? They own the Senate. Didn't it go through the House and the Senate?
It went through the House, and the House is predominantly Republican.
Well, yeah. So, but it was more bipartisan. I'd like to see what I think it was bipartisan.
It was.
So I'd like to see what the numbers were. How many folks said no? Let's not do it. And I think the Senate never really voted on it yet. Correct?
Oh no, the Senate voted on it. It was signed.
Okay. All right. So it was signed. All right.
TikTok should go away. Because the man who made TikTok said he don't even let his own kids on TikTok. So that should tell you all you need to know right there and there.
Oh, you broke up. Say that again, Trey. Say that again.
The man who
it should go away,
TikTok,
of course.
The man who created TikTok doesn't even let his own kids on TikTok. So that should tell you everything you need to know right
there. Okay, exactly. Yeah, if that's just true, then yeah, it should go away. And listen, I'm not worrying about the man's money. I'm just saying that is it control? Or is it really national security? That's the whole thing. And I think if it's control, then maybe that's a bypass. But I think it's more controlled speech. People are putting a lot of shit on TikTok, and I guess the government say, "Hey, wait a minute, these guys are getting all kinds of data about American citizens." But I think they already have it. I think they already had it.
We had a Chinese virus. We had the Chinese balloon. Remember that?
That's right. Yes.
And now we got Chinese social media. Trump getting them up out of here, man. Y'all gotta go.
Yeah.
Going back to your country with all that nonsense. You won't be spying on us over here. You
Yeah,
have to do it the old-fashioned
listen.
way. You got to do it the old 007 James Bond way and send them in here, covert.
Well, you mean like at the border when they had like those 100 Chinese Chinese
You
guys?
got to do it. You have to do it that way. Yep.
And nobody knows where those guys are, man. They're all set up in strategic locations right now, man. Wait for the order. Order 66. That's just crazy. So I don't know, man. I just thought, I'd like to see. I'm kind of pleased that I'm starting to see a change in the RNC, not because I'm a big fan. I just think that one-party system for us as Black folks has always been wrong. I was just too blind to see it. And like I said, it's never too late to get a revelation as long as you do at some point before it's too late. And so we'll see. I think if Trump gets back in office, he's going to do some shit that might scare some people, but not the rank and file. I don't think he's going to hurt America for what he's going to do. Some people just not going to like what he puts out there. But I think he is a true America first kind of guy. And I think the bad part is if he benefits from it, I don't think he has any kind of conscience about that, And, so, there's no litmus test. All these guys are crooks. Nancy Pelosi is a crook, if you ask me. All of these guys go in broke and become millionaires. Somebody said AOC is already a millionaire. She couldn't even buy a dress when she first got in there. And now she's...
Oh, politics is big money, buddy.
Yes, it's big money, man.
In politics.
So it's all bullshit, man.
Nancy Pelosi that made tens of millions.
I know. I got to go look up her portfolio, man. Everybody keeps talking about, I got to go look up and see what I want to invest in and shit, It's it can't just be her, man. Shit. And then let me ask, I know this is a little off topic, but can somebody tell me what the Congressional Black Caucus does? Have they ever done anything to any? I mean, what have they ever done?
I don't know.
It's I'm sitting back here and say, why do they even have a caucus, man? Why do they even have? Even when the Tea Party was alive, they made some noise, for whatever it was worth, right? How come these pricks don't even say, listen, man, we got a whole bunch of votes behind us, and if you don't do A, B, and C, you're gonna lose all our support. I haven't never heard any of those guys. They're all just like puppets, man. So I don't know, man. So thank God for let's just hope we see a change in the next elections, and less Black folks vote for Democrats, and maybe we'll see a rise of an independent party, that has for the middle class, and this is pie in the sky, but independent party.
I say the same thing. That ain't gonna happen, partner.
Yeah, but we can still hope for it, man, because this two-party system ain't working. The lesser of two evils, still evil. And so anybody up there, let's go to the final.
Like asking the blood. That's like asking the blood in the Crips to change their color.
That's true.
What does red and blue make? Green?
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, Green Party. That's right.
Trey, you ain't shit.
I'm just saying, if you put them together, you can have a whole new party. You got a green.
Right.
I think it all wear green. I don't know, man. Listen,
shit.
all I know is that as an American and as a patriot, this would just be my final word, Arpain. And
Go ahead.
As an American,
before you go, Trey, I want to show you a video before you go.
Okay.
Well, go ahead, say it anyway, but go ahead. As
an American and as a patriot, an American patriot, right? I'm embarrassed overall. No matter which side of the aisle you're on, I'm embarrassed. Trump is not as clean as I would like him to be. The Democratic Party is in disarray. They can't figure out who they want to lead the party. And they've been lying to the American public from the presidential seat for years. Right. Trump is a convicted felon, whether I agree with the reasons for it or not. It doesn't matter. He's convicted. And according to the laws in our country, that means something. So as an American, it's quite embarrassing that this is the best we have to choose from. That this is the best we have to choose from to lead our country going forward in what quite possibly could be the most important times when you consider what Russia and Ukraine are dealing with, the Gaza Strip, Israel, the whole nine, right? Everything that's going on abroad and what's going on within our own country. It's just quite embarrassing to be an American at this time, because I don't see the next 4 years being as beneficial as they could have been had we not had 2020 for the year of 2024 that we've had. This has been and I said this earlier. I said it when around January. I said this year is going to be crazy, and I meant it. I said it. and I was right. This is insane, and that's utterly embarrassing. We can't get this shit figured out, and we can't use our system the proper way. We got assassination attempts. We got guys dropping out who should have dropped out 2 years ago. It's just in complete and total mess, and our country is starting to look more and more like a reality show versus a country that other countries would want to emulate.
Now you see what Anissa put. Before I play the video, Anissa said, Kamala, she married well.
She's talking about AOC.
I mean AOC, yeah. Oh, okay. Now let me play this for y'all real quick. Here we go.
Director, real quick, at what time was Secret Service aware of the active threat against President Trump? Director, what time?
So the Secret Service was aware that there was an individual who had been identified as suspicious, and that individual was attempting to be tracked down.
At what time?
I don't have a specific timeline other than to tell
Director,
you,
it's been 9 days.
I understand
At what
that.
time?
I want to make sure that I give you factual information, sir.
Director, have you talked to the agents on the ground that day?
Yes, I have.
You've talked to all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Your senior team has talked to every agent that was on the ground that day.
Yes, we have.
Have they all corroborated the same time they identified the shooter or they were made aware of the shooter, either by attendees in the crowd or local police department?
There are a number of reports of when those times were made.
Was it
those
5 minutes
notifications.
before the first shot rang out?
No,
Generally speaking, was it 10 minutes before the first shot rang out?
no. It
Was it
le-
15 minutes before the first shot rang out?
It was less than that time frame when it was identified as a threat.
How many days before the shooting took place did Secret Service actually do their advance work to secure the facility that the rally was going to be held at?
5 days.
In the 5 days prior, when the security advance team did their work, did they identify the rooftop as a potential threat?
Again, I'm pulling those reports and that information.
It's been 9
to
days,
conduct those
Madam
interviews.
Director. Did they notice a rooftop 150 yards away that was a potential threat? Yes or no?
I am certain that the rooftop was noticed. I am pulling the reports.
What was the security parameters around securing that rooftop? What did they do?
There was overwatch provided for that rooftop.
Did Overwatch fail?
I am waiting to hear what the results of the investigation were so that I can identify where the failure was.
Who did you talk to that was on the ground that day that was responsible for Overwatch? What are their names?
I'm not going to provide their names in this setting.
Did you talk to the people that were providing Overwatch that day?
I've talked to the people that conducted the advance on that day and that were working the shift and were the counter snipers on that day.
So you talked to the counter sniper team. You talked to the people who were providing Overwatch that day, and you talked to the advance team, correct?
Yes, sir.
What did they tell you?
We are putting together a comprehensive report so that I can identify exactly where the gaps and the failures.
When the counter sniper team was on the roof, and they identified that there was suspicious activity on the roof in question, what was the chain of command's orders around the person on said roof? Because I'm quite sure somebody saw under your organization, the Secret Service, I'm quite sure somebody saw the shooter on the roof. So what was the communication through the chain of command to deal with said person?
What I can tell you is that when the individual was identified by the counter sniper, they took one shot and neutralized that individual.
But that was after the shooter already took a shot. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So what you're saying now is that the Secret Service did not see the shooter on the roof until after the shooter took a shot?
I do not have all of those details at this time.
If you don't have those details after 9 days, Director, then what you're telling me is that you guys didn't see it. Is that correct?
I am telling you I don't have all the details of the sequence at this time.
Director, it's been 9 days. Either you have the information or you do not. Is that correct?
We are still in the process of conducting interviews and an investigation.
Some of my colleagues have texted me over the last couple days, bipartisan, about whether you should lose your job. And I've been quiet on that question because I wanted to see what you were going to do today. In my opinion, you do need to be fired immediately. And it is because this is gross incompetence. And the fact that it's been 9 days, and these are simple questions to answer, I'm quite sure if I asked any one of my kids if they got in trouble and I told them to give me the details, I would get more answers from them than I'm getting from you right now. And that's what's frustrating on a bipartisan basis, on a nonpartisan basis. This is a joke. And Director, you're in charge. And that's why you need to go. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Hey, RP, before I go, I want to say something. The time thing, she's absolutely lying about. There's a thing called, and you guys might have heard it before, there's a thing called a police blotter. Every time that dispatcher types something in and presses the enter button, it enters into the system, and the first thing that shows up is the time that it was entered. So she absolutely could have known the very first time that it was called in or reported, or even when it came over the radio. They have listened to the radio because all the radios are recorded. Everything's recorded. So they could have gone back to the radio and listened to the time when's the first time it was mentioned that there's a possible threat on the roof. They absolutely have the time. This woman is utterly ridiculous. How is she in charge? It doesn't make any sense. And 9 days, let me tell y'all something. I've done investigations. They have a show called 48 Hours for a reason, because there's a lot of work you can do in the first 48. You can literally solve cases within the first 48 if it goes your way. So the fact that she's had 9 days to do this is utterly ridiculous, that she can't answer simple questions about time, place, circumstance. And I believe that she's just sitting there and she's lying. She hasn't done any work at all. She's certainly not investigating it properly. I didn't hear you, RP.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. I put myself on mute. I was just saying, yeah, you know what? She's definitely lying her ass off, and she should be out of a job. I think she's purposely not trying to get information as well, and she's definitely, whatever she's having, she's trying to cherry pick it. I mean, that report should have been done maybe days ago, maybe within the first couple of days, you know. So she's full of shit, man. So I was going to ask, you got anything else, Trey?
Yeah, I mean, just some protocol things for you guys. When these types of events happen, there's an immediate debrief. And the reason why they do this debrief, and in the military we call it an after action report or whatever you want to call it, whatever fancy name you want to put on it. The reason why they do this typically right after is because it's fresh in your mind. They want to get what has happened down on the record, whether it's verbally. When I got into a shooting under the police department, I literally sat in the back of a cruiser for almost an hour and a half until the lawyer got there. And then I had an interview with IAD. I didn't even leave the scene, Arpain. I did all this on scene. I had an interview with IAD right then and there because it was still fresh in my mind. And then I had to go walk them through the entire situation. So by the time I had left the scene, I had read my rights. They had taken my weapon from me. You know what I mean? Like, so I know for a fact there's a total debrief, and that she knows exactly what's happening. I don't know who's coaching her, or who's telling her not to answer these questions properly, but she's getting her ass ate up by this committee because she's refusing to answer simple questions, which makes her look incompetent. I think the better thing for them to do is just say, hey, look, we had a lapse in our security. We're working to address it. We're investigating it. And I do understand the overwatch because we used to do that in the military. Like, for instance, you would go, if you had to go on a building and we were short man, we would only send 2 people in the building to get a 360 on the building. You can actually get a 360 on a building with 2 people, right? Okay. So I can understand the overwatch, but instead of her just explaining how the overwatch works and why they did it that way, she instead makes it seem as though they're incompetent and say, oh, just explain why you did the overwatch the way that you did it. Maybe you were short people. We've been told that some of the security for Trump wasn't actually Secret Service. Right, okay, there's a lot of things you can. She just looks silly because she's refusing to answer questions instead of just explaining this is why they set the security the way it is, and then accepting responsibility for the lapses in security.
Well, there you go. I mean, it ain't gonna get any better. Hey, boss man, you still up there? No, I guess
Yes,
not.
I am.
All right. So what you got? Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I just think that her inability to just, like Trey said, to be forthright and forthcoming, especially after this length of time, is abhorrent, and it shows a dereliction, and the fact that they only cleared a certain perimeter, regardless of whether it was a former president or the current president. It doesn't matter. The very fact that they only cleared that small of a portion anyway is a problem. And the fact that she acts as if that there is an issue with information, I'll call BS. And it's either you be forthright with the information that you know with the committee that you're beholden to, which is the oversight committee. And if you can't do your job right, then you should go. Regardless of gender, regardless of person. Over.
Yeah, I got you. Hey, BMU, you still up there? If you have anything to say or what?
Yeah, my last thing I want to say is just basically this right here. Look at the difference in how they handle things. Listen to this.
Of standing on business.
What's the message to Iran?
Don't.
As President Biden said, just don't.
Exactly. One word. Pretty straightforward.
I'm gonna bomb the shit out of them. It's true. I don't care. I don't care. They've got to be stopped.
Yeah, listen, man. I tell you what, neither one of them. I don't like to. I think we need to get a peace dividend. I can't stand talking about war. That's all we've been. We've been in war constantly, every goddamn year. It doesn't do good for the country. I think that's part of our problem. All that money is going to the military-industrial complex. Even though I worked for the military for my whole career, when I got in, I had stupid altruistic ideas about really being on the defense. And little did I know that, it was more than that. I guess the Iraq war was the first time I understand that, you know what, when we want to justify shit, we're going to justify it. But anyhow, Kamala Harris is not fit to be president. And I just think I'm one of those kind of, you could call me male chauvinist or misogynistic. I think there's some jobs that women, emotional women, should not have. I don't think they should be leaders of men. I don't think
exactly.
I don't. Yeah, man. It doesn't. To me, that's my secular thought about it. There's obviously some jobs that women should not be in charge of men with. That doesn't mean they can't do some great shit. Like for example, like the selective service. There's no way you could put a woman as president and the women try to say they shouldn't sign up for selective service. They should be mandatory for them as well. And to put a battalion or a troop of soldiers in the field, the logistic footprint behind that is maybe 5 times as big as the number of men itself, maybe even bigger than that. Women could be in the back doing those things under conscription,
since we're living in a time of so much equality, I think that if men get called to war, I think if they call me to war, they should call Anissa.
Absolutely.
No, they should call us both. And if she dies in war, so be it.
No, I don't agree with that.
I died in war. I'm saying no. What the thing is, women say they're equal. They can do what we do. Blah blah blah. So on and so forth. I think that if they send us to war, then women should be right there with their guns in their camouflage, just like we are, firing weapons.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear that, but what I'm saying is we don't even have to do that unless it came to that. But I'm just saying they should at least be compelled to sign up. They should at least be compelled, just like men. That's where the equality comes in. Where we station them is a different story. You're going to DEFCON 5. But just doing DEFCON 1, they should be mandatory for them. So I mean, there's other things. So I don't think the women. Go back to the video I did on this channel about do black women have the temperament to be leaders. And we just went down a list of 10 black women right in the last 5-8 years that fumbled the bag when they got power. And even Fannie Willis just thinks that she could just go ahead and stroke somebody like a man and with no ramifications, and then go into church and get a pass from the pulpit with her adulterous self, not even apologize.
Yep.
You know, so I mean, you know, Kamala Harris is going to be an absolute nightmare, and I think that Trump and his people, they got to be prepared for the fact that there's still millions of people who are voting based on identity and not who's best for the country. Especially, you know, for our 13-14%, especially black people. You know, we vote for people who look like us, and those people are trash. You know, a lot of them are trash. They sell us out for a nickel and a goddamn, you know, soda. You know, so I mean, you know, so I think the time for that is over.
You know, I'd like to make light of stuff, but I think that, you know, Kamala Harris, she married a puppet, right? Somebody she can control. You could tell their body language that she controls him. And
Of
then
course.
now she wants to, of course. And I don't think she likes to be dominated. I don't think she likes accountability. I think she wants to be in charge of everything. And deep down in her heart, she's saying, thank you, Jesus. This old motherfucker got out of my way. It's my turn. And I just think that she needs to get to the point. I think Kamala, what she really needs is a man in her life, like a real nigga that's gonna put that's gonna put her ankles by her ears and beat that thing up real good and make her shut the fuck up. That's what she needs.
And she said, let me tell you, man, she wouldn't even come 2 feet, 10-foot pole. She ain't getting in front of no brothers like that, man.
Hell no, she not. She don't want to be dominated. She don't want to be dominated. Hell no, she not.
You know, a lot of women don't want to be with a man who could, you know, just tell them to shut the fuck up, man, and don't care about it. Just shut up. You know, so anyway, man, listen, I tell you what, man, everybody, thanks for the chat, man, coming up here and spending some time with me. You know, we're in for a nice political season. It's going to get heated. It's going to be exciting. We're going to have all kinds of damn different things. Kamala is going to be the presidential nominee because if the Democrats don't have her up there, then it's a shoo-in. I mean, they might as well just give the mantle to Trump. Because I know black women are going to defect big time. They'll stay home crying and whining. And somehow I would wish the Democrats don't put her up there just so I can see the sisters crying and shit in this spilled fucking milk for a change. But anyway.
And you know what? And the women, after Kamala loses, we're going to hear a lot of this.
I'm kind of retarded.
The black men didn't support us, man. You know what?
Yeah, and you see what happened in Georgia. What happened in Georgia with Stacey Abrams? Oh my God. They were, she's going to win. All the black men were supporting her. Black women were supporting her. And voting day came, lost. Not lost once, but twice.
Yep. Even worse the second time.
Even worse.
Well, you know, because Stacey tried to throw a Hail Mary at the end to black men. I remember that. You know, in the 7th hour, she said, "Oh, by the way, you black dog fuckers, we're gonna send you $10 million for some shit."
Yep.
You know, and people were buying it. You know, so I mean,
because basically what she was saying is, okay, go ahead and get it. Damn.
Thank you, Catilia. Thank you.
And Catilia, thanks for checking your email, sweetheart. I appreciate you. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, man. So I'm just saying, listen, it's gonna sound funny, right? When people say, "Man, you don't like women," I say, "Well, no, I got 2 daughters and a wife." You know, it's like I have black friends and shit. You know?
Well, you remember what's his name? Al Sharpton. What he said? He said, "You are not a real man if you don't vote for Stacey Abrams."
Yeah, he's an asshole too, man. Mr. Bobblehead, man. Is there people still listen to him?
Yeah, shit, I don't know.
Yeah, I know he got his show, man. But all I'm trying to say is, listen, we got to vote for something other than skin color. I don't think if Kamala Harris was a different kind of woman that has some credibility, I wouldn't vote against her just because she's a black woman. But her temperament is not there. And, you know, I'll tell you right now, if there was a woman I would vote for as president, it would be Tulsi Gabbard. I like her demeanor. She's a soldier, and she doesn't like war. And she wouldn't be so easy to send black men in general to their death over ideological bullshit. You know, I believe it, you know. So anyway, we're stuck with what we have. So it's going to be interesting. So stay tuned for whatever we come up with next. And hey, with that, take us out of here, man. Check me out of here. Good night, everyone.